All right, so I want to show you again, this is, it's currently March 12th, 2024. It's 7:27 a.m. This is the inside of my apartment at 1806 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 6. I'm on the 3rd floor inside of my apartment, inside of my bedroom. This is the same bedroom where after 5 p.m. the entity is aiming light like a laser through closed blinds on this wall. This is the beginning of the day, and this is where the entity is setting the sun, right? This is the light source that's remaining in alignment with me at the end of the day. This is the beginning of the day. The entity is aiming a light source in alignment to my apartment, and this is through living room blinds that are closed, and this is my bedroom. And I want you to see what is engineered light. You see my 2 hands here? Those are 2 hands. Okay, this is engineered light. This has nothing to do with the sun, all right? And also it follows with regard to common sense, sunlight is not gonna pierce through closed blinds and reach into the depths of your apartment. But I want you to see this. My one hand, I'm only holding up one, so I want you to see my one hand is creating 2 shadows. All right, this is entirely terrorizing to the ordinary targeted individual who is being pursued with what is engineered light for a criminal purpose because they are being placed under surveillance via demonic methods like this by the people of the state who live all around them, are all around them, wherever they are in public, wherever it is that they live, as you see, even in private, maintaining an ongoing environment which is, again, supernatural, defying science, defying what is naturally capable of occurring, and it is serving for the demise of the targeted individual. This is not only criminal, it's also that which is terrorizing to the mind state, psychological and emotional harms that the target individual suffers. It is also a molestation of their person. This criminal act is actually a touching of the person for an entity that wants to violate their life, wants to violate and invade every aspect of their being. And it is also a sexual violation. It's sexually offensive. It's an unlawful touching, which is by an entity that is keeping them under surveillance in violation of their constitutional and human rights. And I want to be clear that you understand all aspects of this while I'm capturing, again, what is the prima facie case of federal group stalking and monitoring. And as I remind you, not only what is impossible to occur, this is through the depths of the closed blinds, so I'll show you this. These are, in fact, closed blinds. All right, I have my light on in the kitchen. I'll turn that off because it has nothing to do with what is, again, engineered light that's creating multiple shadows. As I am standing in the living room in closed blinds, you can see my shadow appearing across this light. That has nothing to do with sunlight. All right, this is the admission of the entity. This is the admission of the people. All right, they are indeed engaging in what is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring. That is the why as to the placement of such magnetized, such unnatural light, which is distinct, in other words, by the way, it's distinct. The placement of this light has nothing to do with the placement of the light source that remains in alignment to me for the duration of the day, which is also speaking to the phenomenon. The placement of engineered light all over the grounds is that which is of the demonic. All right, the demonic wants to be present all around you and appear as though it is natural, the natural environment, so that it brings, nothing is brought to your attention, nothing alarming, nothing here to see, folks. Everything is normal. Everything is as we've been told. There's nothing normal about this environment. There's nothing natural about it. It is literally in conflict with how we have been taught with regard to how the natural environment works. This is not the operation of normal sunlight. And I want you to pay attention. I have more than one shadow even as I'm walking through. Again, you're looking at concentrated light piercing through closed blinds. But what do you already know? The entity is keeping engineered light inside of my apartment at all times. The concentrated light is just one method. There's layers. You already know that. This is treated as an admission. It's an ongoing threat to your life, an ongoing sex offense that is continuing while the stalker, while the sex offender, while the terrorist is monitoring your documentation. This is the impermissible threat. All right, this is a threat to your life by a violent sex offender who is obsessively stalking you and is continuously engaging in it, and doing so by virtue of its intent, of its identity. It's the entity, it's the state of California that's doing this in concert with the people of the state, necessarily so. I want to be clear, that's a communication of an unlawful threat, and that is punished to the furthest extent that federal law can enforce. And this is necessarily so. The federal government that is prosecuting a public entity that's placing American citizens under surveillance in concert with the people of the state. And you know that it's in concert with the people of the state because this is the why. I'm telling you why. I'm not only showing you what is the unnatural environment, I'm letting you know why the unnatural environment surrounds. All right, and it's supposed to appear to be everyday normal life. And that's for the benefit, and that's for the convenience, that's for the seamless systematic engagement in what is a targeting system. This is operated by what, in its layman's terms, is some secret society that are engaging in what is the demented group conduct of bullying an American citizen in such ways that it would not be identifiable, something that is inarticulable, something that is unfathomable, all right? And that very malice, the very purpose behind group stalking and monitoring, you're gonna punish behind that. There's nothing good planned by an entity that places an American citizen under this system, okay? And so by identifying it and then by continuing it, because they're not only engaging in it, they also know when the target individual has become aware. And you have seen the pattern of conduct, the entity intensifies its criminal activity. You're gonna punish for that. And the people of the state are the entity. The people of the state are going to suffer the consequences of the criminal act that they have exacted against an American citizen, an innocent American citizen. It is 7:33 a.m. daylight savings time or not. The entity is engaging in what is the impossible at 5:15 as I stand outside of my office, which is on the opposite side of this same apartment, 1806. You have what is the placement of the light source, which is on the opposite side of the same property. That is no sunrise. That is the pattern of conduct. It is the admission of the entity. It is capturing the phenomenon yet again. It is not the sun, and this is not sunlight, nor would there be any sunlight while you entertain the notion for a second, just for purposes of making the analytical framework. We're gonna go through the analysis. There is no sunlight that would appear inside of my apartment at 1806 North Alvarado Street at any time of day, especially not in any magnification, creating any multiple shadows. That's not even sunlight, but you would have no sunlight under no circumstances where the entity is documented as maintaining the sun over my head as I remain at 2301 South Euclid Avenue in Ontario, California, where the sun is rising over the pool, which is to the east of my hotel room number 227 on the second floor, and where the entity for the duration of the day kept it over my head as I then got on the 60 freeway and then went to Harupa Valley, which would be the 60 east, I believe, going east on the 60 freeway, which I documented through the windshield of third-party group stalker's vehicle, Tracy Lemire Banks, who was driving that vehicle, monitoring me in concert with the people of the state who surrounded in traffic while the light source remained in alignment to me and this engineered light remained in the vehicle all around the grounds. The entity is maintaining the light sources. I then go to Harupa Valley, where I also documented the maintenance, the presence and the maintenance. It did not go anywhere. It remained in its zenith over my head at what is Country Village Apartments in Harupa Valley. There is no time of day where the sun is ever rising, let alone present at all, at what is Alvarado Gardens, okay? There is no vantage point from that location on the 60 freeway, at the 2301 South Euclid Avenue, my hotel room, or from Country Village Apartments in Harupa Valley, the property itself, where you are capable of seeing the sun in its zenith there from any angle. You're not going to see the same thing in the sky space. The entity is engaging in what is the placement of a light source, and this is defying the natural environment as we've been told about it and how it operates. Because like I said, while the entity is maintaining a light source, which is not possibly the sun, in its zenith for the duration of the day, there is non-movement of that light source. There is no migration from east to west. The entity is maintaining, defying science and the operation of a natural environment in doing so, and that is also letting you know what is going on in the state of Florida, okay? Because there is no sun that's ever reaching the state of Florida, let alone leaving Los Angeles County, while it is rising on the one side of my apartment building, 1806 North Alvarado Street, at 7 in the morning, 6:30 when you're removing daylight savings time, and setting at 5:30. All replete with what is this engineered light on my bedroom wall. Okay, it does not get any more ridiculous than this, and this is putting that ridiculousness, which is legally translated as what is a super threatening, okay, obsessive desire to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring after the point of exposure has long passed. The entity has been engaging in posing an impermissible threat for a series of years, okay, convinced that it would never face prosecution or exposure on the world scene. This is all legally relevant for the people of the state who are operating the system of federal group stalking and monitoring on behalf of the state of California. Okay, the entity is engaging in what is an unmistakable pattern of conduct, and it is that which defies the operation of nature itself. It is currently 7:37 a.m. There is published documentation which I will provide access to for you to see, and with regard to not only what happened today, March 12th, as I documented the pattern of conduct. I went to work at Country Village Apartments on this day, March 12th, 2021, and I returned to my hotel room, and then you will see as the entity was monitoring documentation and engaged in an act of obstruction of justice because it was aware of the fact that I was documenting it. The entity, then I was released, unlawfully released by the entity that is monitoring me from my job. Okay, understand the position of the targeted individual enforcing their rights. All right, just injustice on top of injustice on top of it. All of this is to be responded to. All right, this is, again, incalculable damages over a term, having to, first of all, establish the reality of federal group stalking and monitoring, and then having to go without what is justice for a prolonged period because you have to establish the fact that it's real. The pattern of conduct is to obstruct justice and to conceal the fact that it exists in the first place. All right, there is no police officer that you can report it to. The police are monitoring you. The police seek to not only monitor you, but to silence you and oppress you. That is defame you. When you face them with what they know exactly what they're doing, monitoring and group stalking you, and then they laugh in your face or they use that information as though it is literally coming out of the mouth of somebody suffering from some mental incapacity. That's the pattern of conduct. They use their criminal conduct that the targeted individual is understandably confused by and terrorized by to defame that target individual. Do you understand the levels of malice there? All right, the federal government's response is absolutely imperative and it's necessary. There is no other response. There is no court. Understand, the courts are facilitating venues where the entity is monitoring. It's coming from outside of the state. All right, so anyway, it's currently 7:39 a.m. This is P.O.C.